Hello, everyone. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge the Aboriginal people that are the traditional custodians of this land at UNSW. I'd also like to pay my respects to elders both past and present, and to extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present here with us today. Welcome to UNSW International's webinar series. Thank you, everyone, whether you're a student, parent, agent from all over the world attending this today for Women in Engineering. From some quick math before, it looks like we have over 25 different nationalities that are represented on the call, which is great. And I'm not the only Canadian, which is so cool. But my name is Kevin Duquette. I'm the Student Opportunities Project Officer in the Faculty of Engineering. And I'm very honored to be the host for today's session. So, yeah, we'll get right into it with a little agenda. A couple of housekeeping items real quick. If you can please keep your videos off and microphones muted, that'd be great. If you do have any questions, please put them in the chat box section. We will have a Q&A at the end, and we'll try to get to as many as possible then. Next up, we'll do a brief introduction to some of our speakers for today. Then we'll talk about, why Sydney, why UNSW Engineering, why you should come here, and all the great things for what you're going to be doing here in Sydney to have a great time and a great student experience. We're going to hear from one of our amazing standout students who's a current student in a leadership position. You'll hear all about her experience. And we have one of our proud UNSW Engineering alumni who's here with us today to give you some tips and tricks and what it's like as a female engineer in the workplace. And then after that, like I mentioned, get into some Q&A. But first of all, let's meet who we're going to be talking to today. First of all, I'd like to introduce Roberta Ivers, our program manager for Women in Engineering. Roberta, how are you? Oh, you're on mute there, Roberta.
Mute. There we go. I'm great. Fantastic. Thanks, Kev. Hope you're well too. Hope everyone else is well as well.
Right on. And then next, Angela Tandon, president of the Women in Engineering Society. Hey there, Angela.
Hey, everyone.
Awesome. And then we have Jarita Zeng, environment and planning consultant at Aurecon and a UNSW Civil and Environmental Engineering graduate from 2017. Jarita, how are you?
Thanks, I'm great, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks. Thank you for being with us today and taking time out of your day. Appreciate it. So yeah, we'll kick right into it. And I think one of my favorite questions to ask is, why Sydney? Why come to this beautiful city in this amazing country too? Roberta, maybe what are some of your favorite aspects about Sydney?
Well, I mean, it's I really just love going to the beach, Kev. The beach is fantastic. Obviously, there's a fantastic image there, which is pretty iconic. But I love going to the beach. There's some amazing walks along the coastline. Actually, not very far from UNSW at all. And I also really love bushwalking, getting out of the bush. So there's some really fantastic national parks in Sydney, not very close, sorry, very, very close to Sydney, not very far away, I meant. And you can see all kinds of wildlife too in those national parks too, which is really, really exciting.
Incredible. There's also the McIvers all-female baths right down in Coogee as well, only 5 minutes away from campus too there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jarita, how about yourself? What are some of your favorites?
Yeah, sure. Well, I love that Sydney is so big with so many people that no matter what your interests or hobbies are, there's usually like someone who you can find who's like-minded, or like there's a place for you to celebrate every hobby. For example, I'm really into rock climbing, so I love that there are lots of national parks nearby, as Roberta mentioned. And I'm also kind of a super nerd in my downtime, so I love playing this fancy trading card game called Magic the Gathering. So I love that there are a lot of people and places nearby where I can make that happen.
Awesome, awesome. Definitely agreed. And Angela, how about yourself?
Yeah, so exactly just what Roberta and Jarita said as well. They're awesome things. But one of my favorite things about Sydney is that we've got one of the most multicultural food scenes. So we've got lots of things to eat and drink. Sydney's got so many diverse cuisines. We have Thai, Italian, Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, and so many more. And so there's always a fun place to visit, grab something to eat, grab something to drink with your friends. So that's probably one of my favorite things about here.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, there's so much just on Anzac Parade there, just off of campus, and Spice Alley is one of my favorites in the city as well. Personally, as a classic expat, I think the landmarks for me, every time I'm at the Opera House or walking around Sydney Harbour Bridge, especially at sunset, I have to pinch myself every single time. I've been here for over 2.5 years now, and it's absolutely amazing. It's breathtaking. So hopefully you all get to enjoy it. Roberta, I'm going to throw to you next, and just to talk a little bit more about your role and why UNSW Engineering as well.
Sure, thanks Kev. Thanks so much everybody, and really great to talk to you today about the programs at UNSW, in particular the Women in Engineering program. Just to begin with, why UNSW Engineering? Of course, as you can see there, we're #1 faculty in the country, so we're very proud of that, and we work very hard to maintain that for all kinds of different reasons, but one of them is so that we can actually welcome new students to the team and to engineering altogether, and from Australia, but also all around the world. That's one of our favourite priority of ours. As you can see there, we also have this amazing 5-star rating. We're one of the highest ranked universities in Australia with a 5-star rating. And so those rankings come from all kinds of different global ranking agencies, as you can see down the bottom there. But I suppose one of the proudest things that we like to talk about is that we have one of the strongest female communities in the country as well. We have 27% of our cohort, of our entire cohort is female, and we're working at that all the time to get that even higher. But just as a comparison, in Australia itself, for all women studying engineering in tertiary degrees across the country is only about 18%. So we're 27%. So we're really bucking that number, and we're very, very proud of that number. And we really love to promote and support our women, any woman who chooses to study engineering at UNSW. But as I said, yeah, we'll be growing that number even further in the years to come. And, we really hope to progress all those programs as we go. But at the moment, what we really want to do is talk to you about amazing programs that we have here at UNSW. So really what I want to talk to you first of all is what we do in the program for the Women in Engineering program. What we do is our focus is really to help students become part of a really big, friendly female community here on campus. As I've said, it's really big. And what we do in that community is we help all students build friendships, build relationships with each other, and become part of the engineering family as a whole. It's really focused on helping students get the very best out of their campus life, and to make sure that it's a really valuable, enriched experience on campus, and memorable too. So one of the most important things I do is help students link up with not only relationships and friendship groups and communities, but also link in with professional development and skills programs and mentoring, so that students are really highly sought after when graduates, when they actually go out into the workforce. And one of the other things that I do, and I love this part of my role as well, it's probably one of my favourite parts, is that I am the port of call for any female student on campus who needs to talk to anyone in faculty about their degree, about developmental programs, whether it's academic or personal. I'm the first port of call for any female student. So what I do is I kind of link any female student up with a huge range of services across the campus and in engineering faculty as well. Whether that's for wellbeing and health, or whether you need a mentor, a counsellor, or an academic to help you with your studies. So that's what I do. I connect people up. And one of the things that we have is a dedicated community group for female international students. So that's one thing that I'll be able to link students up with when you're studying engineering. We also have a scholarships community, and we have many, many more communities. Whatever your interests are, I think basically there's a community or a student group for you on campus. And what you get out of those community groups are ready-made relationships, skills, and of course, lots of fun as well, lots of social events. In particular, Women in Engineering Society, and you'll hear from Angela about that. Angela Tandon's our president, as you've just heard from Kevin, but as part of her WESOC community, you can get access to mentoring, personal development opportunities, and industry events, as well as all the fun activities. So Angela will tell you a bit more about that soon. There's also some other great student societies like the Women in Electrical Engineering, Women in Renewable Energy, and RoboGals. RoboGals are an outreach group who develop programs engineering programs for young girls. And it also goes as wide and far as even an active women's sports strategy, which encourages all women at UNSW to take part in the sporting communities on campus. So that's sports clubs, like gym and swimming, social sport, even international competitions. So there's lots to do there too. And of course, this is a really interesting one as well, and it's really, really valuable and powerful for international students too, to help you in your studies at university. We have a really wide range of scholarships that are available for international students. So there's scholarships for undergraduates and postgraduates. And there's a portal that you can investigate and, really explore those scholarships on offer. For undergraduate and postgraduate international students, very specific kind of line of scholarships there. And then, of course, once you've graduated, our alumni team has a really amazing peer-to-peer mentoring program for our female graduates called Engage, which is aimed at supporting graduate engineers to continue and develop their professional life in engineering. So what that program does is match new graduates into engineering with more seasoned older UNSW alumni, and they help each other learn new skills and help them in their career progression and talk about career achievements and from there on in. But yeah, so that's what we have on offer in the programs. But then we have all kinds of professional skills that we can that I'd love to talk to you about too. So basically, there's 3 planks that I'd love to talk to you about. So that's in terms of professional skills, that's hands-on, real-world, professional and entrepreneurial skills that you can learn on campus as part of the programs here. So one of them is the Challenge program. We also have this amazing Maker Spaces network and an entrepreneurial competition just for women called the New Wave program. So in the Challenge program, there's a lot to offer there. There's industrial training and course credit and all kinds of things that come with the Challenge program. And of course, a bonus again of making friends, building relationships, professional development with industry, and of course having fun too. So Kev, you know a lot about the Challenge program. I'd love for you to talk about these 4 planks of the Challenge program, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I can jump in super quickly, Roberta. So there are 4 pillars to Challenge. One is vertically integrated projects, or VIP. These are long-term research-based teams and projects that you'll be working on with a UNSW academic. So no matter what School of Engineering that you're going to be in from your second year onwards, you can probably find a project for you. These can go for multiple years. Like I mentioned, it's really exciting. We're a part of a worldwide consortium. We're the first and only school in Australia to join this worldwide group. So it's super exciting. The Maker Games, this is my baby, one of my main focuses here at UNSW. And this is a small design and prototyping competition and course where student teams will form around an industry partner submitted challenge. And you'll work with that company and their mentors and an academic mentor, and then present your working prototype at the end. And we'll see who wins the Maker Games and gets to carry that championship trophy. Next
Kev,
up is,
we'd like to say that there's a really high proportion of women in the Makerspace program. In the Maker Games program. It's like it matches our actual cohorts, 27%, which we're very proud of.
Absolutely, yeah. The last 3 years I've been involved, we've been in the 25 to 27% female participation percentage, which is great. So we absolutely align with what UNSW Engineering is doing. The next one really quickly is student projects. These are all about competition-based teams. You'll see the photo in the bottom left. These are our lovely ladies, part of our Redback Racing Formula SAE car. And then social impact, our last pillar, certainly not least, is all about humanitarian engineering. So the bottom right photo are 2 ladies that were over in Cambodia as a part of the Engineering World Health Summer Institute, and they were repairing medical equipment in a rural community hospital to save that hospital money, which is amazing. There's incredible videos, photos, all the projects are listed on the Challenge website. So I highly recommend you heading over there after the webinar.
Thanks, Kev. And of course, there's even more professional skills that you can get access to at UNSW. The next one I really wanted to talk to you about, which I love, I have a very kind of soft place for in my heart is the Makerspace network. I often sit up in the electrical Makerspace as my second office and watch the 3D printers kind of humming away, building projects in there. It's one of my favourite places to be, and the Kirby Makerspace. But the Makerspace network is a really amazing group of high-tech, hands-on workshops, engineering workshops, dedicated engineering workshops. So they're actually the biggest Makerspace network in Australia. So in these workshops, you can get free, open access to all kinds of tools and technical support from really amazing technical staff there who can teach you how to use all of the facilities, and you can collect digital badges too to show what skills you've picked up so that you know you've got their kind of recorded for you while you're studying at UNSW, and to demonstrate what skills you have. And the staff, as I mentioned, really amazing staff. There's a manager, Mel, she's an amazing manager, and she has 3 dedicated engineering staff working with her across 3 dedicated engineering makerspaces. So these makerspaces cover all kinds of areas of interest, from 3D printing, metalwork, electronics, laser cutting to sewing, you name it, you can do it. You can do anything in these spaces. You can learn, if you want to learn something, you can. It's all free, open access. And everything's off limit. You've got access to everything. So nothing is off limits, I meant to say. And students actually from day dot are working on student projects. So this is the place where you will be working on your student projects. And so you're trained to operate all the equipment. You can even go on to paid employment through the Makerspace's employment program there. So once you learn, you can teach other students how to use the machines in the network. And in fact, international students at the moment make up 50% of the employment through the Makerspaces at the moment. So that's just something to bear in mind while you're here at UNSW. So you can learn and earn in this amazing, great network. The next thing I wanted to talk to you too is this Women Only New Wave Founders Project. It's a program that where you can learn all kinds of entrepreneurial skills and pitch a startup business in a competition setting. This is really fun and exciting, much like Kev's Maker Games. It's a competition kind of setting, but it's for women only, and you get to learn all kinds of kind of entrepreneurial skills like pitching, leading, design thinking, and again, also make friends, build relationships, have some fun. And I really recommend that. That happens a couple of times during the year. It's a really great thing. That it's all pitched via a big webinar and a competition at the end of each program. Lots of fun there. And finally, this is one of my babies, is that I look after, as part of the Women in Engineering program, I look after a Girls in Engineering Club. So Girls in Engineering Club is very close to my heart. It's a club for high school girls who are really interested in engineering, and I give them challenges and workshops and all kinds of things. We've got over 800 members of this amazing club from all over the country. So you can also get involved in working with me on the Girls in Engineering Club by coming to me with a workshop idea, or just getting involved in events and ideas with a newsletter. So that's it. Yeah, so there's a huge variety of amazing things you can do with the Women Engineering Women Engineering program, and that's just from a faculty point of view. That I look after the faculty end, and I communicate all these kind of great programs out through my LinkedIn page and various other kind of communications channels. But that's it from me from the program. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about all these amazing programs, and I'll throw back to you now, Kev, because I'm sure Angela would love to tell us all about her society.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks a lot, Roberta. I appreciate that. And here we go. We have some funny green arrows happening at the top. Not sure what's going on there, or if anyone else sees them. But Angela, welcome. How are you? You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and then your experience as a current student right now at UNSW?
Yeah, certainly. Alrighty, hi everyone. As you've already been introduced to me, my name's Angela, and I'm currently in my 4th year of my chemical engineering and commerce double degree. So I've been at UNSW since 2016 now, and throughout my time here, I've got various opportunities to get involved, make some new friends, and gain lots of valuable connections in the engineering industry as well. So as has been mentioned, I am currently the president of the Women in Engineering Society, and I've been involved with this society for over 3 years now. So just a little bit about me and my journey in this degree. When I came into this degree, I was definitely out of my comfort zone, you know, so not many of my friends from high school were really going to be attending UNSW, and none of them were studying engineering. So I came to uni not knowing many people, you know, and that might be the case for some of you as well, coming from international locations. So having to start from scratch to really meet new people, make new friends, and have a really good time at uni, I think that's something you can definitely relate to. And I've definitely got some tips for you to get more involved. So at the end of my first year, I signed up to the Women in Engineering Society. And since then, I've made millions of great memories and met, you know, many of my best friends along the way as well. And joining that society really helped me become much more confident in sort of all aspects of university life. So, you know, I started getting more involved in social events, starting meeting new people, making more friends. And on top of that, joining industry events and developing my professional skills while talking to members of the engineering industry, getting more advice about what I wanted to do with my degree once I eventually graduate. So some of the best advice I could give to you all right now is that when you do start your journey at UNSW, you know, always get involved with societies that interest you. Women in Engineering Society is one society that hopefully will reach out to all of you and hit that interest. But like Roberta said, there's a couple of other ones as well. You know, TWEET, so for Electrical Engineering Society. There's also WIRE, so renewable engineering. So there's heaps of ways to get involved, and I'm sure you'll make a lot of memories from that. So yeah, one of the best things about Sydney as well is that we've got some of the friendliest people here. So you'll always find someone who's happy to speak to you, share their experiences and help you out. So never be afraid. Now a little bit more information about WSOC. Basically what we are, we're a student-run society. So we've got students in the team ranging from first year all the way up to, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th year sometimes. So we've got our members, we've got over 2,000 members from different disciplines in engineering, both male and female. Most of our members are female, but we don't discriminate. So whether you are studying civil, chemical, electrical, mechanical or mechatronics, whatever it is, WSOC will always welcome you. And yeah, that's a history on what we do. Generally throughout the year, we run lots of events that you guys can actually get involved with and attend. So when you start out, we have some introductory events and programs like our Protege program. It's a mentoring program. You get paired up with an older mentor who is a student. They run you through, you know, making friends and getting to know the campus, all that sort of stuff. So that's good when you're just coming in. We also run more professional programs later in your journey. So we've got the industry mentoring program where you get paired up with a engineering industry representative from, you know, the same sort of field that you're studying. And for 3 to 6 months, you are mentored by them. You really do develop your own professional skills and you get a lot of guidance for yourself and your future career. And on top of that, throughout the year, we run lots of events. We run industry events like International Women's Day, Speed Networking Night, Design Challenge, Case Competition. These are all opportunities for you to talk to people in the industry, gain those connections for when you do eventually graduate and just scope out what you really want to do with your degree. And we also run lots of social events in the year. So you can always meet new people and make new friends, which is also really, really awesome. And finally, we run a campaign for gender equality. So it's called the 50-50 campaign. We sell t-shirts, hoodies and other merchandise throughout the year. And so if you are an advocate for gender equality, you're always welcome to take part in this initiative throughout the year. It's something really, really awesome to get involved with. So yeah, overall, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into what we do at WSOC. And if you do want more information, we do have a lot of links for you to stay in touch with us and stay in the loop. So the best way to stay in touch would be to give us a like on Facebook or check out our website and our other social media, which should be listed here. And you can definitely get involved with any of our upcoming events throughout the year. Everything we do is usually posted on Facebook, and you can always get in touch with us through email or even through Facebook Messenger. So yeah, that's all from me. I hope that gave you a little bit of insight. But yeah, I hope to see many of you at UNSW soon.
Amazing. Thanks, Angela. Thank you very much. Yeah, going back to that first holding slide for yourself, great model shot wearing the 50-50 gear, new for 2020.
Wearing it right now too.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Love
go,
it.
guys.
Fantastic. Yeah, you can head on over to, I believe your Facebook page, right, is where they can place orders?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, check it out, guys. It's fantastic stuff. We love that.
Order the hoodie before you enroll.
Yes, exactly. Perfect, Jarita. And yeah, welcome to you. Thank you so much again for joining us. Yeah, I think we're all super excited to hear your story from UNSW, your transition to the workforce, and then the things at UNSW that really inspired you to, you know, take that next step and journey and really put yourself out there.
Yeah, thanks for that introduction, Kevin. So I actually graduated from a just environmental engineering degree in 2017, but I was there for 5 years, even though the degree is actually only 4 years, because I sort of switched degrees at the beginning of my university career, and I'll tap back into that by saying I think that my uni experiences have really profoundly shaped both my career and who I am today, because when I first graduated high school in 2012 and was entering into uni, I was just so overwhelmed by all the options. I was like, and up until that point, my whole view scope in life had just been to graduate high school with good marks and get into university. From there on, it was sort of like the whole world was at my feet. Where would I go from there? And I didn't have much focus. So to quantify that uncertainty, I was actually given an offer to study optometry at UNSW, very different to what I do now, but was convinced by my parents that science and arts would be a more secure path for me in terms of job prospects when I graduated. So I decided one semester into uni that I was, so then I decided to transfer into science and arts, where I majored in advanced physical oceanography as well as environmental humanities. So that was the big link for me first up, because from there I had to do my basic physics and maths courses, where I sat alongside my friends who were engineering students, and I realized, wow, I really love the practicality of engineering and how I feel I can really make a difference with this degree instead of what I'm doing now, which was a little bit more theoretical. So that was a big transition for me into environmental engineering, and it was really great that the internal process of transferring degrees within UNSW was quite seamless as well, and it was quite easy to work out the information in order to do that. So once I was into environmental engineering, I think I was still in a phase of my life where I was kind of having an existential crisis about making sure that I made the right decision in life and that I was on the right track for my future. So I really tried to start getting involved in extracurricular things to really validate my choice in university and degree, and hence my choice in future degree as well. I could sense through the changes that I'd made that, you know, choosing environmental humanities and then going into environmental engineering, that making an impact on the world around me, whether that be the community or the environment, was really, really important to me. So from then on, I developed a strong interest in volunteering and eventually how I could align my volunteer work and my future career path. So I'll go into my volunteering experiences in a second, but to talk generally about my university experience, although I had so many volunteering experiences, at the core of it, everything was grounded in my academic experiences. I had world-class lecturers and tutors who really formed a tight-knit community, and being such a large cohort of one of the top 10 ranked schools of civil and environmental engineering in the world, you really have people who cover the broad expanse of interests across all the different pathways that that discipline can follow, whether that be, for example, geotech or concrete, or in my case, environment planning. So in the first instance, that was what really kept me connected to my degree. And then in terms of grounding my university experiences, I really found that at the beginning of my university degree, similar to Angela, I didn't have many friends because all my high school friends had been left behind in high school. And I'm actually quite shy, and public speaking does not come naturally to me. So what I found easiest was that it was easiest to get really involved to overcome the shyness rather than stay in the outskirts and try to get involved and make friends that way. Because as soon as you get involved, you're out of your comfort zone and you're forced to make these connections because of the volunteering work that you're doing or because of the social activities that you're doing. And when you're organizing things with people, you naturally form camaraderie and identify things that are alike in yourself and the people that you're working with. So that really changed my university experience. I made friends as well as people who really helped me with my studies as well. And I got to help them in return, which was fantastic. So some of the things that I got involved with was firstly ISEC. So at the end of my second year, I went on a trip to Mauritius. It was a volunteering exchange for 2 months to Mauritius, which is a tiny island nation off of the main coast of Africa, with an organization called ISEC, which is a student-run global organization which sends students overseas on both volunteering exchanges and internships in order to empower them with the knowledge, connection, and skills to really tackle global issues, as well as to develop those international connections. So that was the first of my journey into like the big wide world of what university extracurriculars had to offer. And from then on, I came back from that trip so enlightened, and I was like, oh my God, like I have to experience everything. So I came back, I joined ISEC as a member, and then I went on to join the national committee and do all sorts of things like help people go on volunteering exchanges and get similar experiences to myself. And also ran a program to focus on sending students to the Middle East to focus on an important issue at the time in our culture, which was to educate people about Islamic culture and the Muslim culture, given that, given the threat of terrorism at the time, Islamophobia was a pressing issue in society at the moment. So that was something that we really wanted to bridge over, and is an example of the sort of important issues that we got to tackle. So after I came back from my ISEC Mauritius trip, joined ISEC, I then went on an Engineers Without Borders trip to Cambodia. Engineers Without Borders, that top picture, oh, both of those top pictures actually are from my Cambodia trip. So it was a 2-week trip with Engineers Without Borders, and I've remained involved with them after leaving university as well, because they're another global organization who work closely with universities and industry to demonstrate the sort of impact that engineers can make in developing nations, and to help tackle global issues as well. So what this design summit did was it firstly taught us what humanitarian engineering design is, to understand the needs of our society and the needs of our community and tackle them in a way that is sensitive to their needs rather than what we perceive their needs to be. So rather than, say, for example, going into rural communities and installing internet for them when they don't actually have technical devices, actually going in and then having us stay with those communities for a duration and live with them and try and understand their mindset before proposing a solution for them. So this was a really, really amazing, profound experience, because again, it showed me the impact that I could make beyond the scope of the life that I'd always led. And it showed me the possibilities that I could have in my future. One highlight from that trip was that one of the solutions that one of the team members proposed, it was like a little, so one of the rural communities that we stayed in, what one of their businesses was to fill little soil canisters and grow seedlings to sprout into herbs and plants that they would then sell on in their local markets. So out of a water dispensing canister, one of the engineers devised this like really ingenious but simple solution to really easily and automatically sling the mud and the seeds at the same time into those little canisters, which were essentially just like water bottles cut in half. So it was amazing, and it was so simple, and it used the supplies from the local community. It was exactly the sort of solution that we were after. And the local community actually ended up implementing it for their business, which was fantastic. From then on, I started trying to venture out into my fellow civil and environmental engineering cohort. So I decided I need to make more friends who actually did the same degree as me. So I reached out to CEVSOC, the Civil and Environmental Engineering Society, and I applied to volunteer with them as a third-year camp coordinator. So that was awesome because I got to meet more people who were my peers, being that I didn't start my degree in my first year along with everyone else. I sort of missed that initial opportunity to make friends with my peers. So that third year camp coordinator position was amazing because firstly, I got to meet new people, but secondly, it was about equipping people who were about to graduate with the sort of skills that they would need to work in industry. So it was great to be able to facilitate that for my peers, but also be able to get the experience myself through organizing the camp. So we got to have industry leaders come in and run professional development, skills workshops and seminars with our camp attendees all weekend long. And it was very, very valuable. And it's continued on ever since. From then on, I remained involved with SevSoc and then also got involved with Enactus, which is a national student-run organization once again, but more focused on social entrepreneurship. So in the bottom right corner there, you can see a photo called Fortunate Food Co. That's the project that I was involved with. And the idea was that we would hire homeless people or refugees in particular to make these chutneys and out of food waste from cafes and restaurants. So the idea was that we could tackle two problems, try and reinvigorate the local economy by employing these people and giving them some work experience and people who are sort of down on their luck, and then also tackle the issue of food waste by using discarded food and making it into a reusable product. So this was fantastic. That's a photo of us at the Bondi markets near the beach, which was a lovely day. But this was a really good example for me of the sort of collaboration that's really key to engineering, the fact that I wouldn't just be working with fellow engineers, but that I could work with commerce and business and any other arts or other industries as well through the course of my career. Ultimately, I don't think entrepreneurship is for me, but I've definitely been involved with lots of organizations started by amazing people with entrepreneurial mindsets. So I think that's always something to get involved with in this current climate.
Awesome, thanks, Jarita. And obviously you were involved with so many things with your time at UNSW. How did all of those things translate into your professional life? I know you didn't start off at Aurecon off the bat, but how was that journey, and what were those skills that there were so many transferable ones that you learned about? Can you tell us about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually did get my job, I would say, in thanks a lot part to my experiences at UNSW, because while I initially applied for an undergraduate position with our local transport agency, who they're called Roads and Maritime Services, so they basically create all of our road infrastructure and maintain it there. For my first graduate position, I met the recruitment coordinator at a SevSoc event at uni, and we really connected there. And though I applied through the usual process, I'm sure that really assisted as well. I would definitely say that the soft skills and professional development I experienced through all of my activities at UNSW definitely really assisted as well in making me the person that I am today and making me a really suitable candidate to work at Aurecon. So in terms of my work at Aurecon, I'm really proud of the company because I think the national average for women in industry, in the engineering industry, is about 11%, but we're currently tracking towards 40% in New South Wales, which is a fantastic milestone, and always something to keep aspiring to increase as well. Sorry, I just read the comment that popped up. So what I love about what I do is that I get to work so much on public infrastructure, and there's such a breadth of engineering works happening in Sydney at the moment that's expected to continue. I get to work on something different every day. So I've worked on projects that expand across the rail, road, water, and telco industries. I get to work on environmental impact assessment as well as sustainability management. So there's something new every day, and I think everything that I do and all my accomplishments every day definitely come back to the experiences that I've learned along the way, of which UNSW is definitely a core part of. So if I had any tips for people at UNSW, it would be that get involved, follow your dreams. I know that's corny to say, but definitely follow your dreams. The best thing about UNSW is that it really allows students to choose the pathway that they want. So even though I really impress the benefits and the value that I got out of volunteering, I know that that's not for everyone, and that's not the pathway that everyone's going to follow in life. So definitely embrace the opportunities that UNSW has to offer to follow your interests and work out who you want to be in life, and then define your career from there.
Brilliant. Standing ovation for me. Incredible. Love it, Jarita. Great story. And I think we also have to commend Aurecon as well. Roberta and I do a fair bit of work with them, and what a fantastic industry partner, totally supportive of diversity in the workplace, and so many amazing female engineers and professionals that work over there too. So thanks everyone there. What we're going to do now is head into a bit of a Q&A, and we'll try to get through a few of these before our webinar finishes. So going to have a quick look through some. Here we go. Julian, did any good questions pop up for you that you saw? Or that we haven't answered? I know there was a lot of pre-questions that were sent out regarding scholarships. We only touched on them here today because there are quite a few, depending on your school, like the School of Engineering that you want to be joining, or whether you're an undergraduate or postgraduate. We will send some more information in a follow-up email, which will be coming along with this recording. Yeah,
Kevin,
Julian, is there anything else?
Kevin, we've got a extensive question in here that's got 4 parts to it. So it might be worth, if we've got the panel still there, to sort of ask the questions and get someone to respond. So the first one is, why is it important for more women to be in engineering?
Oh, I think this is a good one for maybe everyone. Roberta, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. Do you want to?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to answer that question.
Give your first 1 minute. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, it's so important for women to be involved in engineering, and particularly people from all kinds of diverse kind of parts of the community, because diversity in engineering brings more diverse solutions in engineering. That's one of the most important things. It means that the solutions for the world will be designed by everyone, not just by a very slim proportion of engineers. And I think that's really the first most important thing. The second most important thing is economic prosperity and security for women. That's a really, really important one as well. Obviously, it's so important for women around the world to find economic prosperity and security for themselves and their families. So that's why engineering is such an important thing to get involved with, because engineering is one of the jobs of the future. We know already just from in Australia that engineering will make up a huge proportion of the jobs in the coming decades. Another really great reason why women should get involved in engineering and in STEM jobs in particular is because now we have a proven link between business prosperity and diversity in the workplace. So that's 3 really good reasons why women should be involved in engineering.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for that. And then Angela, I mean, for yourself as a current student, what makes you get up out of bed every morning and either, go to campus when we could pre-COVID and even now, like what is giving you that drive and inspiration to make you want to be an engineer and enter that workforce when you graduate?
Yeah, so I think one of the main things that does provide that constant sort of want and desire is because you know that you have a unique contribution, that what you are contributing is very valuable, and that's sort of a stigma that didn't used to exist. So with encouraging more women to come into engineering, you provide more platforms for confidence and more ability for the women who are in engineering to actually bounce off each other's ideas, feel more supported, and actually go out and tackle these engineering problems. And especially for me as well, like, it's good to have more like-minded women in engineering who I can, talk to and just become even better friends with, and have that support network in engineering. Otherwise it can become quite isolated and lonely.
Fantastic. And then Jarita, really quickly from yourself as a professional engineer that's been in industry for a number of years now, how can you comment there too?
Sorry, what was the question?
This is for, why is it so important to have female engineers in the workplace and in those opportunities that are available?
Yeah, definitely. I think Roberta's already explained really well why we need diverse people in order to create diverse solutions. But I think it also facilitates a much better workplace when you have a diverse range of personalities. Engineering at its core is so much about collaboration. You really need um, a diverse range of personalities and different interpersonal communication skill sets in order to achieve the best outcome. So I think the question about diversity is sort of like a non-question. Like you just need it to really achieve what an engineer is meant to be, like someone collaborative and solution oriented.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I know there was a long-winded one there, Julian.
Yeah, so some of the, I think part of the part two has already been answered, but just if anyone wants to add anything more. So the second question is, can it be considered an unfair advantage if women are given more opportunities in engineering, i.e. scholarships specific for women in STEM, career connections, job vacancies?
I'll jump in there and just answer that question yet again. There aren't more opportunities for women in engineering in terms of scholarships. We know that for a fact. We would love there to be just as many scholarships and opportunities for women in engineering, but in actual fact, there are not nearly as many scholarships, dedicated female scholarships. So that's one thing we're actually working on, is actually getting more of those scholarships, because it's proven that the more scholarships we have to offer, the more women actually come and join us in engineering. And it's not just because of winning a scholarship, it's because they actually see how important it is to study engineering during the scholarship application process and the interview process. So it might be a common misnomer about unfair advantage. It's actually not unfair advantage. We're just trying to level the playing field, just so the women actually kind of come in at an equal level. Certainly we don't down the track, we're not looking at quotas. We don't look at quotas. We are literally looking at interest and industry coming on board and backing us in that I suppose in the crusade to actually get more women into engineering. As Jarita said, we currently in Australia, there's only about 11 or 12% kind of engagement of women in engineering. Despite our 27% of women studying engineering, the current level of women actually being engineers is only about 11 or 12%. So we've got a lot of work to do yet, and in terms of levelling that playing field and developing more diverse solutions for the future. So yeah, that's my kind of answer to that question.
It probably leads really well into the next question, which is, how do you prevent or identify situations where women are just used as figures? I.e. if a company's just hiring women as a sign of equality, just a number in the percentage.
I think, Jarita, you could probably be a good person to answer this, coming from Aurecon, who actually go out of their way to ensure their workforce is a diverse, that they really champion diversity in their recruitment strategy, don't they, Jarita?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it definitely depends on your supporting organisation, whether they treat you more as like a figurehead of diversity and equality, or as someone equally valued but who happens to represent diversity and inclusion as well. It's a tricky one to comment on. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, but I think that despite acting as a figurehead, if companies are making the effort to try and have these figureheads positioned as their examples of diversity and inclusion, that sort of gets your foot in the door to really make greater change within the organization and influence the mindsets within the company and the organization, so that they can get rid of their unconscious biases. They can encourage hiring of more diverse and inclusive ethnicities and genders, and then eventually achieve that ultimately diverse and inclusive culture that we're all striving towards. So it's not always avoidable, but it's an uncomfortable reality that sometimes we have to bear as diverse and inclusive, as diverse figures, in order to create change and influence it that way.
Fantastic. And then, Julian, I don't know if we have time for one more, if we're running out of time now.
We can quickly just finalise the fourth part of that question, which is really about how how can women be taken seriously in STEM? You know, there can often be stereotypes where men don't take women seriously. How is more women in engineering going to possibly change that?
Angela, I may ask you for that. Just, I mean, you've been involved with so many sort of industry mentoring programs and industry type events as a student. You know, can you comment on that question in relation to, you know, those different scenarios that you've kind of seen? Because from being a fly on the wall for those events, there's a lot of diversity, and you're meeting so many senior, you know, level female CEOs and engineers, but also male as well.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that stereotype, whilst yes, it may exist for some people, it might, some men may feel that they shouldn't take women in STEM seriously, but from personal experiences and from what we experience when we speak to industry members, we find that women are continually being empowered to just tackle, you know, the industry with their utmost, you know, enthusiasm and their genuine skill. And so you'll find that when you have that level of confidence, you have that level of support, and you know that you can conquer whatever task it is within that field, that you don't need to worry about people not taking you seriously. You find that there is so much support for you that it's very uncommon that this will occur. And if it does occur to you in the workplace, then there's so many ways to, you know, take that to a next level and get sort of grievances on that, because that's some behavior that is very much not tolerated. But in general, you'll find that people are very, very supportive in for women in engineering, women in STEM, and they will take you seriously. So it's a matter of being, you know, empowered and being confident in your own abilities as well, so that you can do your best in the field.
Brilliant, very well said.
I did want to say they're really great questions, actually, because they really put everything on the floor there, and it's really good to talk about those things.
Yeah, absolutely. Jill, I think we're probably out of time now, you think?
I think we are, Kevin.
Yes, sounds good. All right, everyone. Here's just a little bit more information that you can kind of check on for UNSW's response to COVID-19 and what is happening. So in the link below, it's regularly updated. So if you are unsure, please visit that site. But yeah, I think we've actually gone a little bit over time, but first of all, I really want to thank the panel here, Jarita especially for taking time out of her day, Angela, Roberta, so great to see you again. Thanks for helping out Julian as well in the background too. And to everyone watching, thank you so much. Be safe, and sincerely, we really hope to see you at UNSW next year. So check out all of the websites that you've kind of seen the links in this webinar, and you'll hear from us again soon. And thank you very much. Take care. Bye now.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.